Blessed love. Give thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Welcome to the live stream, a Journey Beyond Wellness Retreat series. This is the final episode of our Journey Beyond Wellness Retreat series. And it was a powerful one today. We got a special one. You know, we had to finish off with that high grade, that powerful finish. You know, as the whole series really was powerful. Every single episode, we came forward with some amazing information, some powerful transmissions from everyone who came through and took part in this series. So we give thanks for everyone who's tuning in. I'm so excited for this episode today, and I'm so excited to be able to do this and to be in front of you all. Today, you know, once again, we have Mark Roman, the inner trainer, with us, who is one of the facilitators for our Journey Beyond Wellness Retreat, which this year is going to be June 15th to June 23rd. And it's gonna be an amazing one. This is our second version. So we've done the first one. It was so powerful, so amazing, and you know, we're ready to take it to that next level. So we welcome Mark, and we got Honorable Priest Kailash here as well. We're gonna let him introduce himself. You know, needs no introduction, but we'll let him do that portion. And we just give thanks for everyone who's tuning in. And we're gonna let Mark lead us into this conversation. You know, just open up the space and just, you know, set that intention and give the honoring. So we give thanks for everyone for tuning in. And Mark, take it away, my brother.
Oh, give thanks for life. I appreciate you for being here, everyone in this collective resonance. Thank you for your presence. And so for these honorings, what we're doing is we're acknowledging, we're giving thanks for all of existence, all of creation, all that is with us, supporting us through this great adventure. So we place our feet on the ground to acknowledge the earth beneath our feet. No matter what level or story that you're on, you place those feet on the ground and feel your ground. And we're going to place our palms facing skyward on our thighs or on our knees or on our lap, wherever feels comfortable, so that you can receive the moment, put ourselves in receptive mode. And just go ahead and close your eyes, going within. Allow your shoulders to soften and loosen. Allow your lower back, your lumbar to relax, and let your pelvis rock back and your coccyx, the root of your spine, to just sit on your seat. And let your spine go gentle yet upright and erect, so soften. And with the soft belly, we inhale through the nose, inflating our belly like a bag filling with air, like a balloon. And exhale out the mouth, releasing, letting it all go. Another inhale, and letting it all go. Continue on, and release. We give thanks for life. We give thanks for all the creation. We give thanks for us ancestors who are here with us in this now moment, which is not a moment in time. Our ancestors who provide us guidance, wisdom, and protection, who are always with us, guiding us like the wind at our backs, pushing us forward gently with ease. And as we inhale, we give thanks for the element of air, and the breath that is always available. And as we take in this breath, we give thanks for life. We give thanks for the trees, for half of our lungs stand out there on the outside in this beautiful communion with nature. As you see the leaves, if you see the branches, just see those lungs receiving your CO2 and giving you oxygen. Inhale now again and enjoy your inhale. Enjoy your in-breath. Exhale, enjoy your out-breath. And let every sound take you deeper into your inner experience, into your bliss. And as we breathe, we give thanks for the fire, the flame of our spirit burning within. We give thanks for the flame, the fire in our physical structure, in our body, the digestive system that burns, transmutes, takes one form and turns it completely into something different, symbolizing our transformational process. This chemistry the flame of transformation. As you enter in, you transform, become something completely transformed. So we give thanks for the flame, that which gives light. Inhale again, and we give thanks for the waters, the healing waters in our consciousness of letting go, of self-forgiveness and forgiveness for others, of love. And we give thanks for the waters in our physical structure, the blood, the rivers of blood, the lymph, the cerebral spinal fluid, our saliva, our reproductive fluids that create and procreate life, our sweat, all of these fluids that make up this physical vessel, mostly water, the memories held in this water, the vibrational frequencies in this water. Inhale, feel your magnetism. And we give thanks for the water on the physical plane, the rivers, the seas, the oceans, the rain. And we also we give thanks for the planet Earth and the element of Earth and all of its expressions, the stone, the rock, the crystal, the mineral kingdom, and also within our physical structure, the bones, the minerals, our teeth, our skeleton, this crystalline light library, the bones of our ancestors still living within us and through us. And this planet, which provides us foundation, sturdy foundation to continue growing onwards. In this sound resonance, all of creation with you, all are related, all coming from one source within. And we give thanks for all of creation, our whole. Let's take a deep inhale and release. Once more, deep inhale and a deep sighing exhale. Release any worries, any concerns, any worries from this week or your day. Release. Once more, inhale and release. Let's just gently bring our hands over our heart center, palms touching, lightly touching, reaffirming our heart-based centeredness, central awareness, always existing at the center of our perception, not polarizing to this or that, staying here in the moment, in the now, in this present moment, which is not a moment in time. Give thanks. When you're ready, you may flutter your eyes open slowly. And as you open, remember that nothing changes. The elements are still with you. The ancestors are still with you. Your planet is still at your feet. This energy, very present in the now. We give thanks. Aho, ashe.
Aho. Give thanks. Mark. Ooh, feeling amazing after that. How's everyone feeling? Welcome everyone into the chat. We got Honorable Prince Kailash and Mark Roman here. And give thanks for setting the stage and just, you know, the honorings and those blessings and just, you know, creating the space for us. And we got Honorable Priest Kailash here. And we're gonna just pass it over to Honorable Priest and just let him give us an introduction to what he's doing out there, and you know, just let the spirit guide us. This is just pure flow, staying in the flow. So,
and I just want to say, we create in this space together. All of us here, we co-creating in this massive adventure.
Truly, truly. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Honorable.
Honorable.
Yes,
honorable. Give thanks.
Welcome.
Give thanks.
So just wanted to give an introduction for the few people who don't know you, who are on this call. Just a little bit about what you're doing, and just, you know, what's on your mind right now. What's coming out?
Well, you know, I give thanks for life and the mighty life giver. You know, and we give thanks for the divine opportunity to be able to assist in the overall growth and the movement of humanity into a state of self-love and appreciation, or as we say, appreciate loving oneself and being able to overflow with such love and affection and care for self that automatically it actually just vibrates to others. You know, so we are living in a time whereby what actually determines whether someone live or die is that specifically is based upon their financial capacity. I mean, someone could be sick today, and if they could afford to buy a hat, they could live tomorrow. You know, so if a man can afford to buy a kidney, he can live tomorrow. So out of that same level of, I would say, not out of whereby we are in a system specifically whereby things are not operating out of love and care for humanity, but basically out of the need to achieve monetary gains. So one of the key components, or I mean, in everything that we could speak about, the mountain, the trees, the birds, the bees, the waters, every single thing. I mean, if the man is not there to experience these things, I mean, these things, they are like nothing. So even in the existence of all the things, right, the man himself, his capacity to be able to be there to interact with these things, he must be alive. So one of the most important aspects of everything is life. So we give thanks for life, you know. So if it is that you cannot stay alive in your physical flesh and be able to keep that frequency vibrating whereby you could interact with all other vibrations around you, then it makes no sense, right? So this whole aspect of this such fragile and such important aspect of everything, life, right? Money determines who have it and who don't have it. You know, so then you have that the people that's supposed to be now providing that fundamental human right to guarantee that everyone has that right to, you know, proper health care and everything, and everyone could eat properly and think. But at the end of the day, High Priest Kailash was birthed out of seeing the need to fund and establish something that deals with giving people life, right? Saving life, right? Valuing life. So then after going through medical school, and I did some time in Cuba and different places and studying like the common medicine. Mm-hmm. So I give thanks for that aspect of things because it allowed me to gather the appreciation of the physical structure. Because the first class I went to in Cuba, I remember when I entered into the lab, I saw an arm, a leg, a head, human body, and the physical flesh, the flesh. Mm. And remember, I'm Rastafari, and by right, Rastafari not really supposed to you know, come in front of dead things, right? So it was really an investment in time and energy to be able to fully gain that comprehension of exactly how the physical structure functions. So I give thanks for that experience. I glorify it, whereby I could have been able to critically analyze the physical structure from every aspect, from the cellular to the embryological to anatomy, cellular level, as we said, you know, and also in the chemistry and physiology, all aspects of things. Mm-hmm. So it allowed me the opportunity to see what good's supposed to be. So when we went through the whole aspect of studying all that science you have to study, then afterwards, you still see that with all the knowledge, the system has no cure for anything at all. So then a man with diabetes is going to actually stay on drugs for the rest of his life. A man with high blood pressure going to stay on drugs for the rest of his life. A woman with polycystic ovarian syndrome going to have to go on birth control pill and stay on that for the rest of their lives. So I saw that we did not really, as a scientific community, there was not that utilizing of all that information to actually create a system whereby you actually heal people. Nothing had a cure. We just was sustaining the pharmaceutical industry. So out of that birth, the Great Physician International, right? So growing up, I loved my grandmother. We are relatives.
Yeah.
Okay, children of brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I am the one who grew up. I was like my grandmother's last child. Even though I was not a child, but I grew up with Amu, right? I was there. I was the one that was there with Amu all the time.
Yeah.
So even if I was not like the blood child, last child, but I was still like that spiritual last child.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then I received that blessing of being able to actually be around an elder and learn, right? The herbs and the understanding of like what it was like to just live and utilizing everything around you to take care of whatever situation that you were actually going through.
Mm-hmm.
So medical school actually provided me now with the reinforcement, the scientific reinforcement of what my grandmother really actually had already taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I never went into medical school not knowing what I wanted to do. But it actually afforded me an opportunity to say, well, look, well, if that's the problem and that's how this is supposed to be working, then okay, so well, you could use that and that and that because that contains this and this and this and da 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 da, and then probably you understand, and then you begin to find solutions for the problems that people would really tell you that there are no solutions for. So that's pretty Kailash, right?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, give thanks. That's a powerful connection because I find it like people either want to be in the medical field or they want to be in the herbal, like that ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom field. But that power is like Mark said in the honorings, is like the powering is in the center and not polarizing to either side. So it's so amazing to have you here and you doing that work, and to have you growing up in that environment where you were around the elders and you were able to gather that knowledge, because like where we don't really have that opportunity. So it's like you're really one of the last people who really had the opportunity to grow up around the elders and really understand and truly live the life and see what it's like to be able to utilize earth and see the abundance that earth has. And earth has everything that we need, and it's just our ability to utilize it. So that's amazing. That's so blessed that you're able to go through that experience. And one thing I wanted to touch on that you spoke about was about the financial and the monetary gain. Just about how important that is for us as a community, because I find a lot of the times it's like everyone's like, oh, but I can't because I can't afford. I don't have the money. I don't have the money for that. Oh, I don't have the time because I'm working too much. So if you could give us some insights on just your approach to the financial gain and just that just the approach for the people out there who may have money as a blockage or the finances as a blockage.
Well, definitely, it all begins. You see, the foundation is self-love. Right now, if I love myself, then automatically my aspirations would be to actually engage myself in things that leads to the upliftment of myself. Right? So logically, I would see that if it is that you begin to love self, take for instance, you're about to, let's say, buy something for you to eat, or buy something for you to drink, or buy a car, or decide on whether or not you're going to take a shower, whether or not you're going to just drink a little herbal tea, or whether or not you're going to do some exercising. All these things that basically stems from the foundation of understanding that investment of time and energy in self, because time is 24 hours a day and energy is also limited. So you have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of energy that you have to extend to actually achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in your whole being, in your own self, in your whole existence. Now, money is reflective of value. So money is only a reflection of the value that you give to something. So if it is that I give myself, if I value myself to the extent to say, well, I have 24 hours in a day. So if I spend 15 minutes with someone, that would be valued at $150. So that $150 is only an example of the value of what your time is specifically worth. Now, if you develop that level and understand, well, look, well, my time is worth money, so is my energy. So it's not that you are really, and you don't have to explain this to anyone because you understand that, well, look, you are living in a time whereby $1 or 50 cents or $25 is reflective of value. There was a time when a bar of gold was reflective of value. There was a time when the cows and cattle and wood and stones and shells, all these things were reflective of value. So now you are living in a time where by what reflects value, what people give value to is money. So your time and your energy specifically have to be reflected also in a monetary value. So then you say to yourself, well, look, what am I going to invest my time in? Right? And when I invest that time in it, or I invest that energy in it, what monetary value would actually come to me? Because why? Because that monetary value is reflective in the time that we are living now, right? Of whatever it is that you are exerting. So then, if it is that we begin to treat our time and our energy into a state, into a sense of being whereby you understand, well, look, I am only going to associate myself with things that could actually lead to the upliftment of myself. And because I love humanity, because you really cannot assist someone. If a man is thirsty and he's asking you for water, you really cannot assist him if you have an empty glass. Right? So first and foremost, you have to exercise the capacity to be able to fill your glass with water to the extent whereby your glass will be overflowing. And one man will actually come and drink off, 2 man, 3, 4, 5, 6 women, children, people, cutlet just filling up your overflowing glass. Why? Because you were able to actually fill up your glass. So self-love does not mean that, right? Self-love does not mean that you are actually doing something about, no, and still you don't have to explain this to anyone because you know that within your own self, your foundation is pure love. So monetary gain is not something that someone's supposed to actually scorn. It's supposed to be demonstrated as a balance. If you're a wise man or if you are intelligent, then your intelligence is supposed to be demonstrated with some level of, you understand? So you will be someone that's poor and because you want to exist at that particular level whereby you could have the things that you need to actually function as a spiritual being. So my Lord, we must embrace the fact that right now, I mean, you need $1 to pay a bill. That's it. So how it is that you're going to use your time and your energy to effectively to gain that. And because you're full of love and care and compassion and you love the whole world, when your cup overflows, man, automatically you rise people with you because of you coming from that central point of love. So I believe that we as a people, we're supposed to be bold and also support one another and be just and equitable. Because remember, as a people, the financial aspect of things are always the things that bring discord, right? So we must always learn to operate at a sense of equity and justice. So no one really has to tell a man, well, what the value of another man is. A man's supposed to be able to see that, okay, well, that's the value of my brother. So when I will deal with my brother like that because of that value, which may not only be demonstrated in money, because time and energy and effort and all these things, there is value. So if I sit down and I spend 1 hour with you, you're supposed to understand, well, look, normally, people have to pay to sit down and speak to, so this is an investment of time and energy in me as a person. So you begin to appreciate love, receive whatever it is that person is actually giving you, because you could even place a monetary value on it, because that's the manifestation of that value in our physical existence, in this plane, right? So it's not like an abracadabra. You do this and you do this and kazam and everything. No, it comes with, as in biblical times, they say your faith and your works, right? So if you believe in meditation, so meditating actually allows you to be able to focus, right? Meditation allows you the capacity to be able to focus to the extent whereby you could actually put that energy in whatever it is that you are doing. Okay? So you have to apply the meditation because it's an exercise. It's a practice. So you apply that meditation in whatever it is that you are doing. Whatever work, whatever it is that you are doing, when you apply that meditation, when you have to succeed, there is no way really that you could actually fail. And I mean, failure doesn't really exist. You know, so it is up to you as a person to be able to focus your energies and don't feel like you have to explain anything to anyone. You know, when we live our lives thinking that we owe people things, you don't owe anyone anything. Nothing at all. You know, you owe, first and foremost, if it's love, you owe love to yourself. If it's forgiveness, you owe forgiveness to yourself. If you owe care to yourself, right? The only time that you will be able to effectively demonstrate it to others is when you have the capacity to actually demonstrate it to your own self.
Straight up.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And with that, you fill in your cup, and you've gotten to a level where you're able to create the Rejuvenation Center, the Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center, and really like name your own mountain, which is like, it's so powerful. Like you really have your own mountain named after you in Saint Lucia, which is amazing. But it just shows that what you've created, how you've been able to get that monetary gain, and then now you're able to welcome us to the mountain. You're able to welcome us to experience the abundance of nature and to really tune in and get that energy. So, it's powerful to see, because everything that you talk about, which is for me like one of the most powerful things, is everything that you talk about is, you don't even need to hear it from you. You could just watch you. I could just watch you and then I get all this information. So that's so amazing. It's just so embodied and so grounded. So, we give thanks for that, and then your offering of that. But what I'd like to know a little bit more of like, why did you create the Rejuvenation Center in the mountain? And what is your kind of your long-term vision? Like, what do you want to see happen with what projects you're currently working in right now?
Well, definitely we give thanks for life and the mighty life giver, and we give thanks also, for, I'm priest Kailash, because I'm a priest of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. And the reason that you might see me all in white is because it's Sabbath. Sabbath is, so we on Saturday, really the Saturday, I say, well, we Saturday on Saturday, like Saturday, where we just relax. Right? And Saturday really is the day whereby the yin and the yang, the spiritual and physical energy actually comes into a balance, right? So on that day specifically is a day whereby we actually rest, but not just rest and go and rest on your bed, but we rest in works of righteousness and right and service and obeying the order and all this. You understand, my Lord?
Yeah.
So we give thanks also as we've now just entered into a period of praying and fasting, that even the Catholics and these other religions might call it a period of Lent, which is also a time whereby the earth itself is going through a process of cleansing and upliftment. So you are going through that specific astrological cycle with the moon and the stars and the sun. So this is a time whereby one's supposed to go just like Moses and Joshua and Elijah and Christ and all these people do a 40-day cycle. Right, and specifically, we do the 45 days as we go into that cycle also. So it's a good time for one to fast. Fasting from the majority of the things that you'd actually be doing, and then actually spend that time abstaining from food. We only feast only 2 hours every single day, whereby you could actually consume certain things and many things of the list. And then you go through a deep cycle of meditation, whereby at the end of the 45 days, probably a handful of something only could actually satiate you. So give thanks for that. The Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center, which is MKRC, is basically a creation that came out of the aspect of wanting to revolutionize in the healthcare system, meaning that completely change it, because people were normally thinking of like a hospital as a place that is sterile and in a building with no fresh air, no trees, no flowing water, nothing at all. So if it is that we think about sickness and disease, and you have to think about what environment would be more conducive, I mean, logically, what environment would be more conducive for someone to heal? In a sterile, close-up environment whereby you're lying on a bed and then someone else is lying on a bed next to you, and then up to a point in time, you see someone come, they wrap up that person and they gun them and you never see them again. And somebody else came and then you see they came and put the gun. You understand? So you are in an environment that promotes sickness, death, and mentally, if that's what you experiencing, so you say, boy, like you lie down on that bed, then you're thinking about when will be you, right? So out of actually seeing these things and understand, but wait, man, that doesn't seem logical. Of course, if a man has to survive an ordeal, it would be excellent that he is in an environment of life and abundance and fullness, whereby he could develop that love and appreciate love in life. And also fresh air, oxygen, fresh drinking water and all that, and not chlorinated water. And people would go into the hospital and they have a surgery, and immediately after surgery, they give them steak or chicken and rice. And, I mean, basic and fundamental things that you study the science and understand, well, look, all these things, they are detrimental to the whole healing process, right? So the mountain itself was created out of the need of having that space, right? Whereby one could be afforded the opportunity to get the healing, right? The healing, yes, in the sense of actually receiving that environment, number one, that energy, and also the food, the extracts, the baths, the therapies, and everything that comes together in that package to assist that person to reverse, to heal themselves, right, from any type of condition that they might be suffering from.
Yes, give thanks. It's an honor. So everyone tuning in, the Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center is where we host our retreat, and this is going to be our second edition. And it's an honor to be able to host it in such a beautiful environment. And this year we're going to have our retreat June 15th to June 23rd, and we got some more cottages being built, so we got some more space. So we have some space for anyone who feels called to come on this journey. We have some extra space for you to come join us and, to come experience this energy live, and to really engulf yourself in that energy and that vibrance. So, we have that coming up June 15th to June 23rd, and it's an honor to do that. And I'm gonna post into the description the link for you guys, so you guys can just check out that link. And if it calls you, we got some space for you. So yeah, we're excited to be offering. If it calls you, then let's do it. Let's make it happen. But I want
to say real quick, Honorable Priest Kailash, you mentioned the cycles of the stars and the sun cycles and the moon cycles a bit earlier, and our retreat is actually June 15th to the 23rd. So that's the summer solstice for 2019 is on June 21st. So if you want to really, celebrate this massive solar event for this year, it's definitely a powerful time to do that. Connected with the land, connected with nature, with frequency, family, doing your personal healing and getting the wisdom and practices that you need to continue moving through this grand adventure.
Yes, truly. The summer solstice, it's a powerful time. But what I wanted to kind of pivot and ask Honorable Priest Kailash about is something that, just from talking with you, is some big works that you're in, is about working with the women and just the different problems and the different illnesses and diseases that are currently, really plaguing the women, especially in the African American community. So I wanted to first ask you of just the more broader approach, advice for women out there, just to approach their health and wellness. And then if you could get it a little bit more specific and talking about more of the common, like the fibroids, the PCOS, endometriosis, and just go into talking a little bit about that, and some different herbs and different things that the women can do to be in optimal health, because we need the women to be in their optimal health. So yeah.
Yes, I actually have a woman on my side that emailed me about a fibroid tumor. She said, is this the right retreat to start treating this kind of physical issue? So definitely on this thread.
Well, I'm going to give thanks for life and a mighty life giver, definitely. When it comes to the whole aspect of the woman, it is important that we understand that the emotional aspect of things, because most times in science they would separate emotion and the physical being. So if a woman has fibroids or polycystic ovarian syndrome or breast cancer, they would not normally link up the person's emotional state to their physical state. Now, in science, we understand that every emotion is expressed through the physical structure via biochemicals called hormones. All right, so happiness, sadness, anger, grief, right? All these things, for the physical structure to be able to feel these sensations, the physical sensation of these emotional feelings, for your physical structure to be able to actually feel that, to interact with it and cry, and your brain operating as the translator of that emotional sense, that emotional feeling, would actually create biochemicals that make you sense and feel your emotional state. All right, so your emotional state is reflected in your bloodstream via what you call hormones. So if you're happy, you might have large quantities of serotonin and you feel good. If you're sad, you might have high levels of cortisol and you feel bad. So understanding that, right? When it comes to the whole aspect of human health, in my basic craft, I won't say practice, I'll say craft, right? The great majority of women that suffers from polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, all these so-called hormonal imbalance related conditions, PCOS, fibroids, breast cancer, the bulk of it is just hormonal imbalance. So the foundation of that problem, the foundation of fibroids, which is just estrogen dominance, because increased levels of estrogen in the woman, because we must understand that a small child at the age of 11 or 8 or 9, that's a female child, they will appear to be exactly as a male child. Flat chest, slim, run around and jump, and puberty comes, estrogen levels start to increase, they grow breasts, right? They change, they grow pubic hairs, they begin to menstruate, all type of things change. Why? Because of the change of a certain level of chemical, estrogen, the hormone. It makes a flat chest woman grow breasts. So if we understand that, and we understand that when particular parts of the physical structure of the woman is exposed to a particular quantity of that particular hormone, it can cause growth, then you understand, well, look, if there is excessive estrogen in the womb of the woman, it can cause growth in the form of a leiomyoma, a tumor that they call fibroids, right? It can cause growth in the breast of the woman. So if we understand that this chemical, the excess of that chemical can be so detrimental, then you begin to examine what are the foreign sources of that chemical and what are the internal sources of that chemical. So you find that the plain truth is that 70% of that imbalance comes from poor emotional state, right? The bulk majority of women with fibroids and polycystic ovarian syndrome and all these type of hormonal issues are women who have gone through lots of traumatic events in their lives, problems and issues and been traumatized. And a lot of these people now are people who have not had that ability to actually go back into themselves, that event, that time, right? And be able to forgive themselves, right? So you have this person here that is 25 and went through some traumatic experience at the age of 12 or 15 or 20. And whenever she thinks of that traumatic experience, she begins to feel sad and begins to cry or begins to feel upset or begins to say, boy, if I had known better, I'd have never done this. Why should I get myself in this? I should have done this and I should have done that. And this whole experience that this person relieves day in, day out now. And the feeling that it brings, that feeling of helplessness or of anger or sadness, whatever, if we understand that these feelings are expressed through the physical structure as the stress hormone cortisol, right? Now, cortisol, high levels of cortisol now would lead to what you call estrogen dominance, and also high levels of the male hormone testosterone. So if a woman understands that her thoughts, how she actually reacts to trauma in the past, because if it is that you are still alive today, you are alive today, so then you're alive today and then you are thinking of an event that happened in your past that was traumatic, that was sad, and but you could look into that event and say, oh, give thanks for life. Wow, I survived. Okay? Yeah, right. So then that very same event, that it's not your fault, that you are able to actually go back and forgive yourself for, right? And say, give thanks. Why I survived that, man. Wow, I'm here today, man. Oh, give thanks. Wow. Now, that actually creates a different sensation within your physical structure. So instead of feeling like a victim, you begin to feel like a survivor because you've survived. So that is reflected in your bloodstream now as a different chemical that instead of leading to you growing tumors in your breast and in your womb and having high levels of progesterone, that you actually creating cysts within your own ovaries, because remember, you are actively investing in your own sickness. So it is not that you're supposed to sit down and begin just to blame, the system, the poisoning us, this and the poison, you have to go organic and okay, all that is good, but you must understand that you are actively invested in your own detriment just by your thoughts, what you're thinking of, what the state of your mind. All right, so it's good to go organic and it's good. Oh yes, you alkaline. Oh, it's good. Oh yes, but understand that your thoughts, how you relate to your past traumatic experiences, that could actually contribute to whether or not you develop breast cancer or not. And even more than, right, what you eat and drink. Right, so then the thoughts now, very important. The thoughts now, your thought is like the seed that actually goes into the fertile aspects of the mind. So your mind is like the earth, the sowing ground. Okay, so you thinking stuff and everything. Oh boy, why was I doing this? And then you are sowing these seeds into your own mind. And you come to a point in your existence whereby you are not able to control the thoughts. The thoughts have taken over you. So whatever you think about yourself, oh my goodness, then they say that you're depressed. Right? And then you stick into that state of depression to the extent that they say, oh, she's bipolar. Okay, so you're mad now, and they start to give you injection and then you walk in stiff. Right? And then all you needed was just to be able to forgive yourself. Right? And reflect back into your past experiences and be able to demonstrate gratitude that you were able to survive. Right? So many people didn't make it, whatever it is. Right? I am here. No, I give thanks. Right? So demonstrating that gratitude, being able to shift that awareness, that point of awareness. So you are in this space in your head, in your own head, not someone else. You are in the space in your own head, your own cerebrum. You are stimulating a part of it that's causing the production of disease-causing chemicals, whereby you could begin to focus your awareness on a particular part of your cerebrum that could actually produce disease-killing chemicals. Right? So thinking positive is fully an example of self-loving. Right? So remember that love being an action word. An action word. You're supposed to be able to demonstrate love. Right? You cannot be telling your man you better love yourself, and then you look like you need help yourself. You're supposed to sit in the action, man. Right? So at the end of the day, you're supposed to love self to the extent that you don't have to speak, somebody could look at you, oh man, I'm gonna love yourself. And someone might even, be intimidated and believe that you're arrogant or you're proud or you this or you that. By the end of the day, just demonstrate that care and love for self. You won't just drink water out of any cup. You won't just go and sit down anywhere and don't watch. You understand? You won't just, so at the end of the day, we love it. It is self-love. And remember, the mind is very important. So when it comes to PCOS, fibroids, any of these conditions, we like to go into it with our sisters on the other level, whereby they resolve all these emotional issues. That's the foundation. Whereby they themselves will begin to actually fully embrace life. And by just that alone, they reactivate their creative center, their home. You see chemicals start to be secreted that, you understand, and just cause that home to become wholesome and willing and waiting to actually receive that sperm. You understand? So we must have that full understanding that as the brethren has begun in the beginning and giving thanks for everything the birds. You see, earth. We are earth. It's not like, okay, you say, man lives on the planet Earth. We are earth. So it's not like you are something other than earth. Or you some extra, no. Whatever you are, earth. So when you talk of earth, you are thinking about yourself, because all of us in that ball spinning around, as they say, and some people say flat earth, but I say, well, according to what I see, we are in this ball, right?
Yeah.
This fireball, right? And all of us are in that fireball together. So all of us, we are part of earth. So the sense of the life of a man is as significant as the sense of a tree. Sometimes they kill a dog and people protest. And they have millions of these children starving all over the place. And somebody might get chastised for killing a dog in a dog fight, right? And you have millions of people dying by the value of life. So people pray, you're fighting for dogs and animal care and trees, cutting the trees, and then you have people dying, and no one is actually valuing the life of the man and the woman and the child. So the value of life, the life of the man, my Lord bless.
And yeah, I just wanted to really highlight the importance of the thoughts. And I love how you brought it to the thoughts, because it's so often that people are just wanting to ask, oh, what about the herb? Oh, what can I use for this? What can I take? Oh, what should I do for this? Right? And everyone's looking for that external thing that they could bring into themselves to help them, get better or achieve the state of wellness. But they may be taking this herb, they may be sipping this tea angry while sipping the tea. And that is not allowing them to receive the benefits even of the tea, because we're here producing the chemicals, the cortisol, the stress in our body, but we're sipping a tea to help relieve that same stress. So I feel it's so important that we really, 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 really understand that it starts with our thoughts. Like, our thoughts are the most important thing. And I love that base approach that you have, just bringing it back to the thoughts and putting responsibility on ourselves, which gives us ultimately the most power. Because sometimes people will say, oh, but I live in this place. Like, someone messaged me saying, I live in like Missouri. I live in this place. I live in that place where there's not organic food, or there's not whatever it may be. Right. And they're using that as an excuse. They're using that as a reason to not really get started, So, just the idea of, it doesn't matter where you are, you have that ability, you have that capacity to heal yourself, and you have that capacity to create the same chemicals in your physical structure that you are wanting from these plants and from these herbs and from these different chemicals that you want to intake. So we have that power. And it's with the thoughts, so it's that taking that ownership. We have that. We have that potential. You have that potential. and really take ownership on that. So I love how you bring it back to the thoughts always, and that power of thoughts.
As I was listening, I was feeling the emotional environment, just kind of feeling the swirling of hormones, neurotransmitters, all the chemicals in the vessel, and feeling how when you insert an herb, when you have that emotional environment really balanced and an inner alchemy that's really balanced and clear, you can receive the essence of that plant, that medicine, that herb so fully. And it's just so integrated and assimilated in such a beautiful process. So even just a little bit of it can do massive work for you. So it's it was powerful just receiving that in this now moment.
Yeah, and just a comment I'm reading from Emily is about a lot of herbalists and naturopaths forget to focus on the emotional and mind aspect of conditions like endo. This makes complete sense to me. Despite me being vegan now for 4-ish years, I'm still scarred. It's just the idea of like, we think that going vegan, we think that doing this thing, going alkaline, following this person is going to heal us, right? So we're looking like we changed a title and that's going to change within us, but it's so much more deep. And I'm glad that you're able to take that in and understand that, and it makes sense to you, Emily. And then now it's just about, taking that and applying that into your life on the daily. So we give thanks. And just taking it a little bit over to the men's side of things. I know Mark had a question about leading into the men. You want to go into that one?
You mind if I touch, while we're still here with the women, you mind if I touch on another question while we're here?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So I just want to reaffirm that I was living in West Harlem in the city of New York City and still did so much of my healing with meditation alone. And then once I started integrating the herbs, it's like it blasts off. So for everyone living in cities, just know that, yes, your emotional environment, your vibrational state, your thoughts, the clarity of your mental space is really the supreme, it's the source of where everything else is flowing. So we have a question here specifically to the mothers in cities. And it says, what advice can Honorable Priest Kailash share to the breastfeeding mothers in the cities that want to have a natural nutritional intake while living so far away from the source of plant life? And 2, what is the best detox option for these breastfeeding mothers while providing nourishment for their young ones?
Well, give thanks.
Give thanks.
We give thanks for that question. But if the sister is the endometriosis, right?
Okay.
Endometriosis is basically an expression of the endometrial lining of the inside of the endometrial lining of the womb is the inside lining of the womb of the woman. It's called the endometrium. And that's the only place where that particular type of tissue is supposed to actually grow. So that's why they call it the endometrium. Now, endometriosis is whereby this woman is so estrogen dominant that this tissue begins to grow areas where it's never supposed to grow, because in adhesions and all type of stuff, because it's growing on the outside, the inside, over here, over there. So if we understand that the state of mind could actually lead to these things, then you could understand, even as a breastfeeding mother, when you are breastfeeding your child, what chemicals you are supplying them in that breast milk, right? Because remember, the woman is like the earth. So the woman carries the child. She takes the sperm, she puts it inside of a darkness, she holds it there, nurtures and takes care of it for 9 months, right? And afterwards, she pushes it out into the world. Okay, all right, creation. Then still the child is on that breast, feeding daily, up to a year, 2 years sometimes. Some people even 3 years, right? So the woman actually nourishes and cares for and nurtures, but she is feeding herself to that child, because it's what she takes in that she actually gives to that child. So not only that the woman's supposed to be in a state of overall physical wellness, but understanding the impact of your emotional state, then you understand, well, what hormones you are breastfeeding to your child. So it is good to, while you're breastfeeding, you demonstrate love and care and being thankful and gracious, that at least you are breastfeeding that aspect to your child also. So you're looking at herbs like vervine. Vervine is a very important herb. It helps to actually in the whole aspect of breast milk production. Vervine, right? And because the mammary glands, they require lots of calcium. You know, you're looking at sea moss and iodine, lots of iodine. So sea moss is a drink that a woman's supposed to take lots of, especially when they are breastfeeding, to help these mammary glands and the mammary ducts to actually function in optimal health, right? So also you are looking at herbs like parsley. Parsley is just blend the parsley, 3 handfuls of parsley in a cup of water, strain and drink it. Very nice to actually gently cleanse out the womb area. Because after childbirth, if we really understand the whole event of childbirth and the child coming out of the womb and all the tissue, the damage and the whole healing process, then there are things that you're supposed to do as a woman to care and nurture for yourself just to ensure that you are in optimal health. So the parsley is a very good cleanser. Okay.
Okay, and parsley is very, very readily accessible even in cities, and we can find local markets that from the local land that may provide, you know, the highest quality as well. So thank you for the comprehensive deliverance of this wisdom. I just felt that whole thing, like just delivering even the chemicals, the hormones being delivered in the breast milk is so important to understand in those moments.
Yes, because I mean, remember that when the child is just born, there are specific immunoglobulins, which are immune system, and specific antibodies that are only given from the mother directly to the child, called cholesterol. That's why it's important that, because if the child is exposed to particular type of conditions and they don't receive that, the immune system will be compromised. So there are specific immunoglobulins that are actually transferred through the cholesterol, that first set of milk from the woman to the child, from that first set of clear fluid. That's very important. Now, when the child actually sucks upon the breast of the woman, right, because the nipple of the woman's breast is actually got tactile tissue. It's very responsive to touch. It stimulates the production of estrogen, right? So it's a feel-good hormone. It makes the woman feel good, but also that process now, it actually causes increased contraction of the womb of the woman, allowing the womb of the woman to come up back into position. That's why immediately after childbirth, the woman would feel abdominal pains, right? When the child is actually breastfeeding. So some women don't really want to breastfeed because of the pain, but at the end, they must understand that. That's because the womb is actually coming back into position, right? So then it begins to balance itself, right? So the child sucks the breast and the child feels good. The child is being fed, right? The woman feels good. Her womb is actually getting into position, everything getting back into place, and everything is happening in a balance in nature. You will. So it's important that also the woman begins to also acknowledge that and understand that process, because it's important to be able to visualize all these things. It makes the process more like, so you understand why you're going through that. So everything that happens, you're very clear. You don't have any doubts, because a man could only force you to do some things because, oh man, you need to eat some liver because you need some iron, because you don't know. So you don't know. So they say, well, you're afraid that your child might die, so you give them some liver, and, right? So when you don't know, people fool you, but at the end of the day, it's very important that you don't just listen and follow what anybody says, but you learn to follow yourself. So if I'm speaking to you about something, go and research it. Don't come because I say, no, go and read it. So at the end of the day, you are able to actually build a foundation for yourself. Because I am not a man that would just listen. I would listen to a man and what a man says and critically analyze it and say, yeah, man, that's good. But I don't really. I feel that. But if me and a man could reason, then we could come to a level of understanding. Right? But at the end of the day, we are all gods, and the children of the Most High. So when we understand that all of us are parts of this great puzzle, and we need to focus and love the best out of every one of us. So every one of us have some good, man. Some people, oh boy, the world is so bad and so evil, and oh no, man. I know a lot of good people, right? I know the good things in plenty good people. And I can sit down and say, yeah, man, give thanks for that brethren there, man. Or give thanks, and give thanks, So we focus so much on, oh God, the world is so evil and so bad and thing, and then we forget that there are so many good people that we could actually probably just give them a call or link up and say, well, say, my Lord, give thanks, and then you got an upliftment right away. Right? So there's plenty good. There are plenty good things, plenty wonderful people, man. There are plenty, man, countless, so let's begin to, focus our energy on the good, right? And nurture that goodness for our own self, whereby we could begin to give it to our own families, So no woman could tell me that they love me, they don't love themselves. How can you tell me you love me? I love you, I love you. So no, I say I love the I. You have to love yourself. Right? So if you tell me you love me and then you're doing this, you are suicidal, you're doing something. Okay, someone knows that, right? Drinking alcohol is bad. Okay, you know that drinking alcohol is bad. Okay, all of us know that, right? Okay, you say, well, alcohol is an intoxicating liquor. So we understand that when you drink alcohol, you get intoxicated, and intoxicating means that you get poisoned, right? Intoxication, if something is toxic, it's poison. So well, look, right? You are drinking something that's intoxicating, and you know that. Well, look, I'm drinking this and that's intoxicating. Now you're smoking cigarette and you know it is something that'll kill you, right? But then still understanding the outcome of it, knowing fully that you are doing something that's going to cause you harm, you repeat that over and over and over and over again. That means that you are continually repeating an action that you know would endanger your own life, your own existence. That means you are suicidal. You are demonstrating suicidal tendencies because you understand that particular action is going to lead to your detriment. Because if you're jumping off a 100-story building, it will take you some more time to touch the ground, right? So you would have time to think and say, boy, should I do that? I should have never do that, man, right? Now, if it's a 2-story, you might just, and one, you understand? So your actions can lead to the outcome in the longer run, but that's the end of the actions anyway. So you are able to quantify time. So you say, well, if I know that this activity is to my detriment and I am doing it, that means that I'm suicidal, right? So I need to come out of that suicidal state of being and come into that state of self-love and say, what? Man, now I'm like, no, man, I love myself, right? Give thanks.
Give thanks. Give thanks, brother. I want to share just this insight, with where we've been holding space for so much healing that's been happening. And for the three of us being men here along the path, my experience has shown me that women that have traumas relating to men, they actually need men. That's not that they need men, but when they meet the men that they can heal with. So meaning that, like, for example, Sister Sade in her podcast with us, with Akeem and I, when she spoke about the retreat, she shared how she realized that after the retreat that she was very resistant to receiving guidance from men based on previous experiences that of abuse of some certain kind. And even in the course that I deliver in orgasmic living, I've had a couple students, 2 women actually share that the same thing, that actually having this experience, it was like for some reason it needed to come through a man for me to receive this a guidance back to themselves of the healing nature. So it's so powerful that I'm witnessing, and I just want to ask you, or just bring it to the platform, just to the table, is like, how does a woman know when she can trust such a man so she can allow the resistance to fade away? What does she need to see for her to know that that is the space? And then how do we actually create such men? How do we, based on how we got to this point, how do we recreate the process, or, bring the transformation where we can create a purity of heart and more love, where we can, bring men that we would trust into these sacred spaces, for healing?
Well, we give thanks, my Lord, for life and the mighty life giver, give thanks, See, it all comes down to self-love again, right? Because
Mhm.
if a man loves himself, he would want to see that anything that pertains to him is upright, just because he loves himself. So his family, and anything that pertains to him, anything that pertains to him because of that love of self, right? So a woman and a man, that balance is of critical importance because it doesn't really matter to say, well, look, oh boy, this person is brighter or bigger, or this person is smaller or fatter, or this person is, as long as one is able to overstand that. When you have one person, that person represents value. That's value of one. Okay. Then you have two people. That's value of two. Okay, all right. So then automatically, mathematically, when two people come together, do you have a greater or you have a lesser?
A
You
greater.
have a greater. Okay, all right. Okay, hands down. You know, all right. So greater. So that's the basics. So then when you enter into a relationship, that means that automatically you're not going into a relationship where you're going minus, you know. You understand the value. And because you love yourself, right? And you could value, because the first is not you, it's not the person, it's you. So a woman will get a man, and then the man will do anything to get the woman. Or he'll go to church, man. The man goes to church, man. The man never go to church before, man. All of a sudden, every Saturday night at church, man. The man goes to church, man. Right? Oh, why? Because he wants the woman. And when he gets the woman now, all of a sudden he slacks off and he doesn't want to go to church. So then that man was able to actually stop bad habits, transform his life, just because this woman had a standard for herself. Okay, so the woman never would just give in and think, well, man, you have to come to church, you know. All right, so then the woman had that standard for herself. So because the woman had that standard for herself, she actually forced the man to rise. That, I mean, you could call it a rise or a down, but I mean, I'm just saying, right? He rise to this level whereby, okay, look, he's going to church because that's what the woman wanted. All right, so the woman then now understands that she has that capacity because of her own standards to cause the man to up his standards. Now, if the woman brings down her standard, right? So the man decides one day he's not going and thing. So then the woman doesn't understand her value. So then at the end of the day, she doesn't remember that she caused the, the power, that's powers, right? So many times, when you look into things where a woman have her own insecurities and this, and a man have his own insecurities, is not understanding your own value as a man or as a woman, right? So at the end of the day, one and one comes together, you make two. Your value is supposed to actually increase. Okay? So then, whatever your experiences are, you're supposed to still understand your value. So if you were a good husband or a good wife, and then you were a good woman, and then you did good with this man, and at the end of the day, the man did this and the man did that. But what did you do good? Yes, I did good. Well, give thanks that I was a good wife, or give thanks that I was a good husband. Right? So you are allowing your own life just to be your one experience with that person. You're allowing that one man experience to be like your experience. And still, you are not even checking that you were probably an ideal woman. So if it is that, okay, man, yeah, man, I was an ideal woman, give thanks. I did good. He did foolishly, but that is business, man. I did good, or give thanks, man. Wow. Right? So it's all about perspective, honorable. And when a woman begins to be able to see that self-value and that self-love, and she begins to feel comfortable with herself, I will never tell a woman to trust a man. I'll tell her trust herself. Right? So when you have a standard, as a woman, then you just see, because you have a standard. Right?
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you don't have to trust anybody. You don't have to trust.
You see it. It's clear. It's right in front of you. It's right there.
No, trust Chris Kailash. I mean, not trust me. If you come in and just feel, well, you're going to trust me and you're going to make it, and no, I really can't help you. To trust me, I will trust you. Right? So when you trust me, you could trust me. Right? So at the end of the day, it's all about yourself being able to see, experience for yourself, and live in the moment, because the moment is now, right? So I was speaking to this little child in a consultation on Friday, this young 14-year-old, right? And I'm reasoning with her, and we're reasoning and we're reasoning, and the mother is just there watching, and she doesn't understand what's happening, and she said, "Where's Priscilla? And she's going if that and da 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 da," and we're reasoning. To the point in time when the child, I mean, she was going through all types of painful experiences, inflammation, joint pains, and she can't go to school, and da 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 da. It came to the point whereby a beautiful young princess, right? When we came to the point when I asked her, because I it came down to immuno, right? Immuno. I mean, she is creating a state of existence in her own physical structure that sooner than later she's going to develop lupus or one of them autoimmune conditions, right? These things happen like that. Trust me, state of mind. I'm serious thing. I'm telling you, brother. Right? So I asked her, what flutters occupy your mind? The bulk of your mind. Out of 10. She said that what occupies her mind the most is killing people, right? It's killing people.
Wow.
And killing herself. A young 14-year-old beautiful princess, right? Have not had the opportunity just to meet up with her angel, which is a man, that's able to guide her from one polarity to the other polarity, from death to life. First, right? So when we just there and then we don't really take a time to critically even analyze the children, the young people around, and allow them that opportunity to actually fully express themselves and understand. Because when someone comes to you sick, it's not just a physical person, You have a physical flesh bones, because remember, I cut dead bodies, man. I did these things, right? So I know you have flesh, you have bones, you have nerves, you have vessels, you have all type of stuff, right? But at the end, that's the physical self. But then you still have this person's emotional self. Then you still have the effort that, there's something called that quantum memory, okay, when a phantom memory, whereby someone could cut off their leg and afterwards, months they still feel pain in the toe. All right, so the leg has not been there for 3 months, so a year sometimes, and that's still itching. That state of being, so it's still there, right? So you leave the room, but you're still there. Yeah, so you just came out of the space, but your effort, your presence, your energy is still there. So someone can still sit in. That's why they tell you, don't just sit into someone's seat immediately after they get up, right? Give it a little time, okay? And a little time to pass through, like that energy go through, you see that, right? So then, at the end of the day, you understand you have an effort, and still you have your spiritual self, and you have your soul self, and you have your astral self, and you have plenty different selves. So when someone comes to you sick, the physical manifestation as a representative, or you'd say a representative manifestation in every single plane of that person's existence, right? So you cannot just treat that person's physical self only. You have to be able to get to that soul, that spirit, that every aspect of that person, to allow that person to come to that sense of self-love, and self-realize, yes, man, I am, and not that Kailash is, but I am. Because we understand that, look, because I and I, is the I that's in the I that's in the I that's in the I that's in the I and I. So if it is good for the I, it's good for I. Because I and I, right? So if it's good for this person, because I can sit down, the point in time, I used to sit down and feel people pain. Yeah, someone is talking and you feel like pain. Just man, my goodness. You go through this because you understand what happens when a knife goes through the skin and goes down to the fascia, goes into the muscle, what vessels, what nerves, all that. When a woman says, "Oh, I had a hysterectomy," and when you're listening to this, but then because you understand the process, right, the intricacies of it, as you visualize the experience, it's not a lovely experience, right? So, honorable, it is very important that we understand that balance, and we begin to self-love and self-trust and self-forgive and self-embrace, right, and self-reliance then. Okay, so Don't tell me about environment. If I go to London, first I'll go to a shop, get some bay leaf plants, get some chives, get some different plants, put next to the window. Even if I'm there for 2 weeks or a week, I'll put plants next to the window, water them, right? Feed them, probably use them, make a cup of tea. You understand? So you create that environment because you love yourself. I love myself. So I have to replicate my environment. So I would never go to a place whereby I cannot cook my own food. Oh, I have to eat this because I love myself better. If I can't afford to get a place where I could cook my own food, I not come, I'm good where I am. I can cook my own food. I can guarantee that, So any country I land to, if I don't have, I would have supplies, yes, and then still I know how to get my supplies to ensure that my lab, which is my kitchen, is in place. So if you love yourself, you don't say, well, I didn't, because, I couldn't do any better today. No. You love yourself. I had to go. No. You love yourself. So you telling me that you love me, and then you're doing something that doesn't demonstrate love for self. Love yourself, right? Then you can learn to love me, right? So at the end of the day, it's for a man and a woman to teach one another to love self, whereby that love feeling could become something genuine, something that grows, something that nurtures. And always remember, sex is only one expression of love. It's a one expression, right? There are plenty other expression of love. You understand that? So when you could demonstrate that love expression in its fullness, whereby you are able to receive and appreciate and grab and absorb and yes, right? Love from another. That means that you could give love yourself. Because you cannot tell me that, because that's a state of being to a prophetic state too. And, Miss Kailash, I have time for everybody, but at myself. Well, don't have time for me. If I am one of that everybody, boy, I don't want that time. Because that time is what you call overcompensation. Have time for yourself. Chris Kailash, I have time for myself, I have time for you. So if you have time for yourself, okay, for instance, then you have a wife, and your wife says that she doesn't have time for herself. So more often women do that. They forget that they're human. They forget that they have to look good, smell sweet, look charming, and you understand, and take care of themselves. So because remember, when your husband saw you the first time, for sure, it was not no spirit thing and you red, your energy, and it was just blue and it is purple. No, man, you look good. Right? You look good, man. Not because you had this stone and I had that stone. Nah, you look good, right? So because you look good, right? This man was, wow, I'm impressed with that now. Oh my goodness. Right. So then at least then that feeling of goodness is something that's supposed to be perpetuated, whereby you keep yourself as a woman in that state, because remember, you like that, And as you grow, you don't get comfortable, and then all of a sudden you don't care how you smell again, and you don't care how you look, and then come on. It can't work like that, right? So self-love. When you love yourself, you begin to invest that time and that energy in yourself. You keep up to that standard. You will be an addition to a man, not a hassle, not a problem, right? You'll be an addition. So it will be 1 and 1, 2, and then automatically your value will increase. You cannot be with a woman or with a man and then you had $5 and you still have $5. Come on. At least $6, right? Or $5.50. Right? So your value, when you add value, it's supposed to be demonstrated in every essence, my brother. So it's not an abracadabra world, right? It's not an abracadabra world, right? Right? It's a reality world, right? And every ritual essence, every height of meditation, every levels have to be demonstrated physically on that physical plane. Abundance, right? Abundance.
Yes.
Abundance. Give thanks.
Give thanks, brother.
I feel that's a big missing piece. It must be demonstrated in the physical. We get so caught up in just like, meditation, like I feel good. But then next day we're struggling because we don't have the money, or we don't, like, we really haven't had it come into our physical, really. So, I really love that about just bringing it into the physical. And I know, just for me and Mark talking, we really place an importance on, embodying it and bringing it into the physical and grounding it into the physical, so we can actually experience it and get the benefits from it instead of just talking about it. You know, that's something that you had definitely taught me and put into my mind. Just don't waste your time. You know, like, don't waste your time with these things. Like, we're here for that limited amount of time. So whatever it is that you do put your energy into it, you know, make sure that you're receiving that physical benefit. Make sure you're receiving that benefit from it. And I find myself, like, I have to remind myself that all the time, you know, because just the way we were growing up, we were raised to, you know, to not really look at how is this benefiting me? What value am I getting? We don't ask that question. You know, what value is this bringing me? Value? Is this aligned with my higher purpose? You know, we don't think about that. So, you know, just always bringing it back to self-love. I feel like I can ask any question right now, and, you know, it's always gonna be related back to self-love. We have like migraines, you know, we have like all these different questions, right? And it's like, it could all really be related back to self-love, and bringing value to self. Like, how are you bringing value to yourself with how you act on the daily? You know, how are you bringing that value? And, you know, let's demystify what self-love is. You know, let's not make it into some mystical thing. And self-love is, are you bringing yourself value? Are you filling your own cup? Are you doing the things that, you know, are allowing you to experience the things that you want to experience? So, you know, I love bringing it back to the physical, bringing it back to the physical, and just, you know, let's really reap the benefits in this present moment that we have right now. Let's really take it all in, and, you know, and own it, and, you know, bring that, and just full joy, as you would say, full joy. So, you know, give thanks for this powerful transmission. Just giving thanks. And, you know, one thing also on that note is just how, you know, how many times have I said give thanks in this conversation, right? Which makes me, you know, when I first went up to the mountain and I reflected on the moment and the times up in the mountain, I asked myself, like, in my day-to-day conversations, how often is the words giving thanks and blessings and love being placed into our conversation? And, you know, just when we implant and that give thanks, and we implant these words into our conversation, it's a way of, you know, showing that self-love, because you're realizing you're giving thanks. You're thankful for whatever it is that's happening right now. And you're saying, I'm thankful for it. And then from there, you could, if you say like, well, why would I be thankful? You know, then you could find a reason for you to be thankful for the experience that you're experiencing right now. You know, so it's about, we're always going to be giving thanks. And if you have trouble giving thanks, how could you find something to be thankful for in this moment? You know, so I love that. It's so powerful. Thank all you all for tuning in. You know, we got, how are you for time, Honorable Priest? How's your time?
I could give probably 5 more minutes.
Okay. Okay, give thanks. We want to, you know, we're really appreciative of your time. You know, we know that, you know, it's truly money. Like, people come in that same office and pay money and travel across the world to come see you. So, you know, we give thanks, and for everyone tuning in. It's a powerful moment. It's really like, it's a part of history. You know, it's a beautiful present that we're in right now. Mark, do you have any questions on your mind right now that you'd like to bring forward?
I do have a short one here. There's another one here that's a bit longer. I would like to get to it too if we can, but this one is a short one. Best from Kathleen, best blood pressure herbs and for stroke prevention.
Well, basically, blood pressure is sodium, right? Salt, right? Sodium, and the sodium is not only like table salt, right? Sodium is like sodium carbonate, what they call baking soda. So most people with high blood pressure are people who love crackers and bread and meat and high sodium foods. Okay, so it's not about, okay, well, I stopped eating the salt. No, sodium. So you have to abstain from sodium high foods. That's the first step. The first step is now analyzing your diet, what you put into your physical structure, and eliminate the substances that cause your physical structure to retain water. So the more sodium that's in the physical structure, the more water your physical structure retains. The more fluid that's in your physical structure, the higher the pressure exited on your vessels. All right? So it's like you have a tank, 100% full, the pressure is high. If it's 50% full, the pressure is lower. If it's 1/4% full, whatever, the pressure is much lower. So the amount of fluid determines the pressure. Okay, so high sodium, high fluids, high pressure. Okay, so then you also use potassium high herbs to help to rid the body of sodium, like stinging nettle and Spanish needle, dandelion, all these things, they are good herbs. All right?
All right.
Okay.
And stroke prevention, would that go on the same thread as stroke prevention?
Well, hemorrhagic strokes, yes, in keeping the blood pressure normalized, you help yourself, but there are also foods that you need to utilize to keep your blood vessels nice and flexible, like your hemp seeds. You understand? And your sea moss and your green juices, plenty of green juices of wild herbs. Okay? So at the end of the day, it takes that investment of time. It's not just, but what's good for headaches and just do good because it's good. No. It's a lifestyle. Wellness is a culture. It's an investment. It's a culture. It's an everyday thing. So it's not about you scared to have a headache or and just one headache is gone. No, it's a culture. It's that you have to develop that mindset that, I've changed my life forever. Because wellness is a culture. It's an everyday thing. You have to just live and be well every single day. Life is the university that you never graduate from. There's no graduation, brother. So you're not there. Wherever you are, you're not there. You learn something new tomorrow. Okay, so at the end of the day, just understand that it's not just Chris Kailash, I dream this or do this, but you have to develop that culture in the way that you live. So you don't just do it and your pressure comes back to normal and you go back to the same way. No. You have to live like that culturally every single day. You have to change that mentality, that focus, that eating, that drinking every single day. Wellness is a culture. So if they teach wellness, then in every school, they'll be, okay, wash your hands before you eat, okay? Then they will say, well, no sodas, okay? They say no junk foods and salads and fresh fruits and, you understand? Exercise and, so the whole curriculum would be just culture, just wellness. So wellness is not something that is just by itself and no. We're talking about the wellness of humanity, a system whereby this whole thing becomes like a cultural way of living where every single thing, every aspect of it deals with wellness. So when you do that to yourself first, then you begin to somebody else do it, then someone else do it, then someone else do it, then someone else do it. Then right now we have developed what they call a wellness culture. And because you are a community of people that's living like that, we're going to grow man's big and then we take over the world, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So question, about for those of us living so far north, and we don't have that much access to the sun, and maybe experiencing the vitamin D deficiency. What are some recommendations for that?
Come in the sun, man. I really cannot tell you well, right? There's only one logical answer to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
And you go into the sun.
Yeah, right.
But it's such a, going back to the self-love, it's like really the way they have it set up is like we're working all day. So then we have.
So you're drinking sun in a capsule, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're getting sunlight in a capsule, and you say you're taking vitamins D supplements.
Yeah. Okay,
so you must, if you want, well, I could only go in these places there probably for a month, for 2 weeks or 7 days. You understand?
Yeah.
And still, I must be able to create the environment whereby I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you choose to be where you are, and you are investing your time in that energy, you're supposed to be your 6 months of sunshine in that area, supposed to equip you with enough capital that you could go and spend 6 months any other place where you're in the sunshine. And you stop complaining. Right? So then you place value to whatever. If I were you, if I was living in that space, right? I would work seriously, my Lord, I'm telling you, right?
Yes.
I would work that when there is sunshine, I'm there. When there is snow, I don't get enough sunshine, I'm out. I'm going over there. And while I'm over there, I'm creating stuff. I have things going on,
Yeah.
and I'm doing my thing and thing. So when I come over, you understand. So then,
Truly,
greatness is a choice. All right. So you choose what you want to do with your life, what you want to invest your energy in. That's a choice that you make. So if you want to sit down there and choose to be there in the cold and say, oh, where can I take 2 vitamins D when come in the sunshine? Now, if you make this your objective and you are realistic and you are self-loving and then you understand the fullness of stuff, it's all about standards, but I'm not. Some people might say, oh, boy, it's so arrogant, and what about those who cannot do it? And then, come on, you're no different than anyone outside there, right? Okay, so no one have to feel sorry for you, you know, right? So I would never employ someone in my establishment I feel sorry for. You must demonstrate value, right? You must show, well, look, if you come into this establishment, you're going to add value to it, not because, oh, well, she's hungry, you know, man, and she have children to feed, and that's no. So add value to yourself, honorable. Love yourself, and if you feel like you need sunshine and you're in the cold, you're supposed to ensure that whatever you're doing in that space could give you that financial that asset where you could move from. That's what white people do all the time. They travel and you know they travel the world and they do the stuff, and the Indians do it and Chinese do it, and you know everyone do it. So the most of us who believe that as if because of our cultural or our race inclination, whatever it is, that's why you cannot do it, or the system is bad and this and the system is against me because yeah, of course. So if the system is against you, that's good. You know, so you become a better baller. So if I know you're a baller, you know, so then if every time you have the ball free man on you, what's going to happen? You're going to evolve, you're going to get more skills. Huh? You go and slam dunk in the face and all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the more challenges you have, right, you have the capacity to expand, to become better, right? So then that's what greatness is. You're not ordinary. So if you're ordinary, then your challenge is to be ordinary. So it's just maybe to eat and drink, sit down and this and that and that. Okay, that's all right. You know, you're good. You will eat, you will drink, you will pay your phone bill, your light bill, you could watch cable TV, and you know you're good, right? But the more your challenges, the more extraordinary challenges you have, that's more an extraordinary man you are. So when you receive extraordinary challenges, you have to give thanks because you're an extraordinary man. So as you go into extraordinariness, right, because you are dealing with things that the ordinary man don't want to deal with, right? Then you begin to understand, well, look, that's who you are, what you are, and it's all about your understanding of that, not what about somebody else tell you, right? So, brethren, as I say, give thanks. You know, I have to move, but at the end of the day, you have to love yourself, man, and you don't have to be in the cold. You choose to be in the cold. Definitely. All right, you choose to be there. All right, and if vitamin D is important to you, you know what to do to get it, and I know that, right? So most of us we pay insurance for a vehicle for $1,000. You know that the clutch, the transmission go bad, you pay $1,200, right? Or this happens, you pay that, and your car got into an accident, you pay $2,500 to spray it, and then you are afraid to invest that same amount of money in self. So then I'm going to go on an 8-hour flight, right? And I'm going to sit down and squeeze myself in the seat to the back because it's cheaper for 8 hours, right? And when I get to my location now, I could hardly enjoy myself because I have back pain, I have cramps, my legs are bad. So the bulk of the time you spend it in regrets when you could have just spend a little bit more money, invest it in your own comfort, where you could spread your legs. So when you get on your mission, you're free and things. You understand? So it's not about the money because you understand it's about your comfort, understanding the value, what you worth, what your value is as a man or as a woman, and anything else come after that, right? So that will set the foundation of what you do, who you talk to, how serious you are, what you eat, what you drink, and if Kailash tell you, well, if you have migraine, then you could drink some vervine tea or some rosemary tea. That'll help to calm down the migraine. I'll tell you that you'll take it for 2 days and say, why? It ain't never working out. No, but if you love yourself, you will be consistent enough to follow the instruction and understand, well, look, you have to take this thing there consistently. And if you used to feel it 3 times a day and you feel it 2.5 times, you give thanks, you focus on the half time. Okay, then all of a sudden, man, you never have a headache again, right? And then there are guidelines people supposed to abstain from. Definitely, honorable, they could contact the eye and they could send the information and I could assist them in detail, right?
Yeah.
Like I tell them.
Yes, I.
Bless it. Give thanks for this beautiful transmission, this beautiful connection, this link that we've had, that we've created. And everyone who's tuned in, such a powerful, amazing, a wonderful experience. Give thanks for your time, and you know, I definitely want to have a round two. You know, it's so powerful. So I would love if you would join us again for a round two sometime in the near future. And you know, there's so many things that I wanted to even touch on that we didn't get the opportunity to touch on today. So yes, we give thanks. And one thing I wanted to ask you is for people who want to get in contact with you or with your to get the information on the healing, what's the way to go about doing that?
Well, we give thanks for life, honorable. You know, we give thanks for this divine opportunity, and we give thanks that we have the opportunity to share, you know, because as you give, you know, you have to be received. It's a balance, you know, so as you give, so you must receive also. So I give thanks for receiving the eye and the eye, you know, and for the moment that we shared up in the mountain the previous time, and moments that we will share again as man and man, you know, still, you know, so give thanks for the investment in long-term relationship, you know, because whatever we do, we must have long-term goals, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years down the line, because we're talking about life forevermore. You know, so any of our actions must not be sporadic actions, but actions understanding that we are dealing with long-term goals. So it is not just for immediate gain. No, it's about creating that environment, because our ultimate objective is creating a healthcare system whereby we could offer free healthcare then, right? So you have such abundance in everything, okay? Then someone could get the care that they need, and money would not decide whether or not they live or they die. All right? So then, if it is that you are to be able to exist like this, because giving healthcare has a cost, right? So that means that there must be means of making a substantial amount of finance that could actually compensate, right, for the healthcare of the people. You understand, my lord? So then it's not that money is not needed or anything that represents money or care, because if you have people, the only reason you need money is because you don't have people, because it's many or money. Because if you have many people that give their life to a cause and they say, boy, I give my life to this, you know, every day that's what I'm doing, I give my time, my energy, that's better than money, right? But because you don't have many in the time that we live in right now, you need the money to get the money. So at least you need the money to make somebody work for you and carry out whatever the family, please do it over there. You pay and you get the money. That's why money and money, right? So at the end of the day, to create that facility, that wellness center, that state of being, whereby before the healer used to be taken care of. The healer didn't have to worry. He never charged anyone a cent. No, because the people took care, the community took care of the healer. So they say, oh boy, Kailash, Saint Lucia, this man that must need some, you know, nice organic black, you know, quinoa down there from Chile, you know. So he down there in Bolivia. And yeah, man, he sent that for Kailash because Kailash is a healer. And he sent that there, so I get my package. Oh man, give thanks my Chilean and my Bolivian brethren there, man. Wow, give thanks. And I send them some medicine down there because they need something. And I get my little thing there from that brother over there. And I get my thing from this brother over there. And people checking for the healer, right? So then it comes to a state whereby the healer himself have to become a businessman to survive, because the people now don't check for the healer, right? So then most times you see the healers go down and nobody talking about it, you know, and everybody, this, and everybody around the healer, and the healer go down, who won't do anything? Right? So then everybody run around to the back and things, the same story, man. Same story all the time. So people talk, and the action is very little. So it comes to the point whereby you live in this existence whereby say, man, I have to do it, and I'm going to do it by myself, I'm going to do it, and thing, and that's what needs to be done, and then that's what you have to do, right? Because nobody's gonna do it. Come on. And so then, if you have that mentality, if someone comes and helps, oh man, what? Give thanks, man. This man come and help, man. You're not talking. People are stopped, right? Because love is reflected in action. Oh my Lord, I give thanks for the works you're doing and think. Yeah, that's the word, right? So that word must be reflected now in an action, in a physical action that adds value to it. So if you come and you say, well, oh, this needs to be done, you know. So don't you think that all the time that I sit down here and I meditate that, right? Or don't you? I mean, you see, whatever I see needs to be done, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I see it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you see something needs to be done, you do it. Okay.
Can I add to that, brother? I just want to highlight how, you know, we should be honoring woman existence every day, man and woman. But here it is an awareness within the collective, because yesterday was International Women's Day. So I just want to honor how you put the value of woman into the woman workers at Livity, your exceptional practices that really blew the paradigm open for myself walking through there and knowing that when it's their moon time, the woman has a week off, 50% of their pay. Like, that is a practice that is incredible. And there's even more. If you want to speak to that, brother, it was powerful for me to witness just the value of how women are taken care of, because you know how important it is for women to be balanced, clear, joyful, and loving and blissful in their vibrational environment.
But I mean, you see, I do give thanks again because I give thanks for the woman, because well, see, I have a mother, right? And then I have an empress. Okay. So my mother, her name is Maria, okay, which is Maya, Mary, Miriam, and the mother of God. Right. So then I know when I'm a God figure. Come on, nobody has to tell me, you know, I know I'm a God figure. Whether you believe it or not. Right? So then you must understand, you must look for your own self and see, well, look, the Christ title is an attainable title. It's a choice that you make, because you could create we are creating history now. You could create your own history. When you're present now, that you're doing now is history. So if you want to create a great history for yourself, you can, by just being great, being consistent and focused on what it is that you have to do as a man. Right? So for me now, I come from out of my mother that born me into the world and pushed me through the addition of the sperm from my father. Okay? And from that, I got all of these people's experiences. So naturally, I was gifted and talented from that union with all the powers of my mother and all the powers of my father, because I got all of the experiences in the DNA. So I'm already an architect, you know. My father is into building. I'm that already, you know, so because that is already expressed in my DNA, what I got from him. All right. So then whatever it is that, when you understand that, then your physical mother birthed you, she represents that feminine creational energy. So you have to honor your mother. Give thanks to your mama. I love my mother. So no matter what your mother say or do, you could never disrespect your mother. But if you disrespect your mother, how can you come and tell me you love me? Can't do that. Your mother represents that physical creational power, that energy that you actually came out of. See, that's a physical. If you believe in God and you don't love your mother, man, come on. Right? So then that understanding that woman now, then you're my empress now, that created me now, pre-Kailash, because I wasn't really pre-Kailash when I met my empress. Right? So then she took me into her bosom, right, and nurtured me and birthed me. So I am a product of that woman that was able to see that whatever that was in me, the greatness in me. When I saw it in myself, I always say, well, I'm going to be a great man. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to think that I'm going to do this. Right, by the end of the day, right, she said, well, Priscilla, you know, you're always 99.9% right. All right, then I said, well, look, all right. Now, if I'm 99.9% right, I work on 0.1%. Right? And then I receive that because I receive from my woman, right? So I give thanks that being able to see more in the woman than a vagina, you know, than The woman is much more than a vagina and breast and backside, right? She's divine, okay? The vagina is sacred, it's holy. That's the only place that life does come out of, right? So the human sex organ is a holy place. Oh my goodness. So automatically, man, you know what, something's not supposed to go there and, oh boy, something, you know, I mean, come on, I mean, definitely, you have to treat that. That's where life actually, like, come on, man. So you have to deal with this with utmost care and respect and honor and value and physically, because you understand. So you give thanks for that space, that darkness where life actually emanates from. So that makes you treat the woman in a particular type of way.
Oh.
All right. So then you cannot tell me that you have an empress and then you're not dealing with her like an empress as a man, because, you know, come on, you have to. The woman is an empress, so she has to live like that. Okay. So what's an empress? She has to be comfortable, she has to take and this and that, take care of things. You understand? To a standard, because that's what it is. Empress is a queen, and then you no one. You know, so you have to live the word. You know, you can't call your woman queen and then you have to live the word. If you call a queen, then what? Give her the crown, right?
Give it a crown.
Give her the crown. Okay? So in whatever level that you are at, right, you have to be able to operate in that level of good comfort, and she feels like a queen, because my empress used to feel like a queen when I was going to medical school. I was living in a little house where we had to carry water from a pond, you know. I was the only man, come on, man. Right? So I used to be that. There were times I had no money to go to school. I had to use my skills just to get to school. I'm in medical school, you know. Right? So at the end of the day, and I was ready for my empress. So at the end of the day, we were able to vibrate on such levels and such frequencies that we were able to create in an environment of scarcity. I was able to grow chives and tomato, and for 3 years, I smoked my own herb, brethren, plant my own herb, and you know, I chalice and thing, and this is my own herb too. Right? Yeah. So I use my own. So from all them times coming through to all this thing there, that creational process. Right? So if I tell you, well, abundance and thing, I'm telling you that I come from an experience where my backyard was broken glasses and rocks. Right? And I had to be carried dirt, going to medical school to plant stuff, right? That I could grow myself and eat and take care of my empress and my firstborn child. You understand? So then I never saw myself as less or weaker, right? So that circumstance forced me to be creative, tickle part of my mind, because I'm solution oriented. I'm not going to sit down and cry about my thing. And you know, this was one of the best times of my life, right? So this was one of the best times of my life, telling you. So in that so-called time of scarcity, I had abundance. I was overflowing. We had so much, I mean, physically, we had so much sugar apple. We used to eat so much sugar apple, man. We used to have abundance that we rot and things around the place, my Lord. So, you know, when that energy of agreement between the man and the woman come together, and man and the woman agree, right? Nothing really can stop. You know, so when a man sows his seeds, not just his sperm, but his thoughts, his ideas into the woman, and the woman accepts it and nurtures it and propels it forward and births it and nurtures it again and sucks upon her bosom. Right? So then powers of the woman are phenomenal. Right? So if Adam was a man, he had a navel string. That means he came out of a woman. Right? So give thanks for the woman energy, the feminine energy. Right? And I praise my woman and worship my woman before I worship a God I never see. You know? I'd bow down in front of her and say, oh my goddess, give thanks for the eye, right? So we have to be able to value the things that we see and stop being vain, and you never see a God. Oh, you never see that God before. You know, you never give you a glass of water to drink. And then someone who give you water and care you and show you love and thing and this and that, you've not grown the capacity to demonstrate love and affection to them. Right? So you have to practice these type of things. Right? Demonstrate that love. Stop wasting time being angry, waste time being angry and miserable. When at the same time you could invest in being happy. Right? Oh, I love this man, So the man step on your feet, you're upset. The whole day you used to be upset. And then tomorrow or you'll make up and everything nice tomorrow, right? When immediately as it happened, you could have saved yourself 24 hours of sorrow and pain. As the event happened, oh sorry, honorable, give thanks, I love the eye. Oh yes, oh give thanks, pardon I. Oh yes, and then you are upset for a second or so, but you're good again, and then you're going through, right? Being upset and stressed is a choice. Let's choose to be happy. Let's choose to invest in goodness and greatness and abundance and all the good things. Let's choose life, So give thanks, my Lord.
Let's choose life.
Oh, and you ask me for the information. You see, I don't really advertise. You're supposed to have all my information. You see, if okay, when then now I have to come and I have to advertise now.
Yeah.
Right. Then now seems like, okay, this man is a salesman. That's his sales pitch. And this type of thing.
I got you.
Right. So then let me make it clear that we don't make it a habit of begging or trying to convince someone of doing something, right? We believe that someone's supposed to operate with that level of feeling and trust and understanding, right? So when you are healed, the healing comes from the word, right? The drinking of the medicines and the herbs and eating of the food is just the physical aspect of that healing already received. All right, so it's very important to receive that word. So when you receive the medicine, right? It's just like, it's done already. Even before you receive the medicine, it's already done. So we give thanks, Honorable. You will give the people our information, my Lord.
Yes.
Right? And you'll take care of that. You will give them the information. And definitely we give thanks again for the divine moment. And, as you say, we'll do it one day again. We'll work on that, definitely. And we give thanks for all those people who listen and those people who have gained some knowledge. So as the knowledge itself is like seeds, so store it in yourself that another person can be blessed in that same abundance. Honorable.
Give thanks. Give thanks, Honorable. Just so much power, so much appreciation. Thank you everyone for tuning in and for, just for, this co-creation that we're doing. We're creating here together, and we give thanks Mark Roman for joining us. And this is the last official episode of our A Journey Beyond Wellness retreat series. And for those of you who don't know, we got the retreat coming up in June, from June 15th to June 23rd. It's the summer solstice retreat. And hey, if you're called to come join us, we would love to have you. It's a powerful time up in the mountain. And if you want to learn more, I'm going to post a link into the description. You could go check that out. And then if you want to find out some more information, you could get on a call with either Mark Roman or I, and we could further assist you with that. And yes, give thanks for this powerful transmission. And in terms of getting in contact with Honorable Priest Kailash, there's a Facebook group a WhatsApp group that is that they are active in. You can get in tune with that one. And you guys can, if you want to reach out, you guys can reach out to me, and I'll get you in contact. But yes, I give thanks for everyone who's tuning in. And let's finish off this one with the honoring by Mark. If you gotta go, Priest Kailash, we give thanks for you coming in. We're just gonna end off with honoring, but we give thanks, and yes, sending love over there in the mountain. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple months out there. Yeah. In Saint Lucia. It's a special time, and I love going out there and just getting that charge up, and just being able to see that reflection of love in every aspect of what's going on out there. So, give thanks. Thank you all. And I'm going to, can you add me into the WhatsApp group? Yes, so for everyone who's interested, comment your number into the chat right now. Comment your number. And okay, Wait, how? Yeah, comment your number into the chat, and then we'll add you into the group. All right, and then or you can add me on
Maybe they should email you their number. And then,
email.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna put my Instagram.
But that works too.
Yeah, I'll put my email. Then you could email. So for anyone wanting more information, that's my email, and you could yeah. So there we go. We won't have the number, but I'm gonna save it. Boom, boom, and then boom. Good. Yeah, so give thanks. The email is there. A little bit too much energy flowing through, but give thanks for everyone tuning in. Send me an email if you want to get in contact with Priest Kailash. If you want to get in tune with the WhatsApp group. Yeah, we're so grateful for this opportunity, and we'll let Mark finish it off with, just finish it off with that message, and just, with what he does so amazing. So give thanks, Mark.
Let's tune into that bliss, man. I give thanks for everyone here, for this connection and all of the love and vibrational frequencies flowing through the space. We give thanks. We give thanks. Let's just take a deep inhale again. In through the nose and just release, let it all go through the mouth. A deep sighing, exhale, release, inhale. And a deep sighing, release. Letting it all go. Even all the information that came through, let it all go and flow down the river. Let what is true for you, what stays with you, be abundantly clear. Inhale. And release. And we're here wishing you the highest possible joy, highest possible bliss, outcomes. We hope to see you in this continued journey, in this resonance. So keep your heart open, keep your inner light on, let it glow, let it flow. I hope. Much love, family. Wishing you all the best.
Sending love to you all. So send me that email if you want to be part of the group, and give thanks for tuning in. And we're just gonna keep growing. And just something to just leave this conversation with is just relating it back to self-love and filling your cup, and what value can you bring to yourself, and how is that being reflected in your actions. So whenever you're thinking about these different dis-eases, or this challenging situation you may be in, just ask yourself, know that first, that you have the ability to do something about it, and then take those actions and do those steps, and then put yourself first. Self-love is the best love. So let's really embody that. Let's bring that forward, and just giving thanks for everyone who's here, and give thanks for Mark for all that he does, and just giving so much thanks, sending y'all so much love. And I'll talk with you soon. I'll talk with y'all soon, and we're keeping it going, keeping it flowing, and love, 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 love.
Love, wholeness, family.
Take care, everybody. Wholeness.